My next guest takes on Ricardo Lamas at UFC 214 coming up here on July 29th. It's Jason the Kid Knight joining me here on the program. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. Getting ready to get my hair cut and, get ready to fly out Monday morning for Anaheim, California.
And you and I were talking about that. It's a pre-fight ritual for you to get your hair cut. Are you just going through the motions now, kind of getting ready for the fight?
Yeah, man. Trying to, get everything ready to go. Going ahead and start packing up some clothes and stuff so that way I'm not having to do everything last minute. And like I was telling you before, my fiance, her mom, she's a hairdresser or a hairstylist, however you want to call it. But, since we've been together, she makes sure that she doesn't allow me to go on TV with a messed up haircut or, long hair looking scraggly. She makes sure that I'm looking sharp each time. So I come out here, a day or two before I fly out and, make sure I'm fresh and clean before I go.
That's excellent. I like hearing that. And by the way, happy belated birthday. I know you just celebrated your birthday recently and you were out in the outdoors, doing the four-wheeling and all that. How nice was that to, get a nice little break in between camp and kind of just get your mind away from the fight camp?
Man, I really enjoyed it. I booked a cabin. It's a place called Red Creek Off-Road. It's an ATV park. I booked a cabin down there for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I had every intention of not training at all Friday and not training at all on Sunday. Well, my coaches, they weren't having that. I went in Friday night and trained, around 6 o'clock. So I got out there at the cabin maybe 11 o'clock that day, got to ride for an hour or so, then I had to haul ass to the gym. Saturday, I had to be there 11:30 that morning. So when I got done Saturday, I got to go back and ride for a little while Saturday. Then Sunday, I had to be at the gym at, I think we got there at 9 o'clock that morning, left around 10:30, and I was right back out there and got to play all day. So, yeah, it was an awesome little break. Even though I still had to train a little bit, it was awesome just to go have some fun in between and, really do something that I love to do.
And speaking of having fun, let's talk about your last fight, UFC 211. You faced Chas Skelly, and you become the first fighter to finish him. As that fight was going on, did you feel like you were going to get the finish? Or because Chas is a very tough guy. He's never been finished before.
Man, to be honest with you, in the first round, I thought for sure that I was going to get the finish. I broke his arm, and I thought that it was just a matter of tweaking that arm a little bit more. But, I broke his arm just a few minutes in, and then a little bit later, I catch him in a Kimura that was, I was nowhere near set up in the right spot to tweak his arm, but I felt it pop from the armbar at the beginning, and then in that Kimura, it popped 5 or 6 more times, and it just felt like it was grinding. It felt like grit and sandpaper together or something, and the guy still didn't tap. After that, I was just thinking, like, man, how do you finish this guy? And it showed in the third round. You don't finish him with submissions. You gotta knock him out. So, that's what I did. I got a TKO. I didn't knock him all the way out, but I think it was just, a few more punches and he would have been sleeping. But that's a tough cat right there. And, he gained nothing but respect from me.
And it was a great fight. Social media was on fire that night talking about your matchup. Did you have any fighters that maybe you don't know kind of reach out to you and give you props on the fight and things like that? Because the reception was huge.
Yeah, man, I had, different fighters from all around the world, different fans from all around the world, just telling me how impressed they were with the fight and, how great it was to actually see that I was able to finish Chas Skelly. It was his 20th pro fight, and he had never been finished before. So I think that's a real big statement right there. It shows that, I'm here for real. I'm serious about this, and I might not be a title contender yet, but I'm well on my way. Hopefully next Saturday night I'll go out there and put on a hell of a show and put Ricardo Lamas away as well and prove that I am a contender.
We'll talk about that matchup in 1 second, but I understand you had surgery after the fight. I know it wasn't anything major, but how was the recovery time and all that?
It took a long time for it to recover, for my nose to recover, but breathing like a brand new man now,
I can tell. I can feel that on the other end of the chat here.
Yeah, man, he's gotta be ready. You know, I'm gonna be a whole different animal now. My last probably 6 fights after the first round, I barely had any wind. It got messed up really bad in the Chas. I mean, not the Chas Skelly, in the Daniel Hooker fight. So that was 3 fights ago. That's whenever it got to where I just couldn't breathe at all. But you know, even before that, you know, it was kind of a little jacked up. And after the Daniel Hooker fight, it was just, you know, no breathing whatsoever on the right nostril. And now that I've got that fixed, I'm, you know, training my ass off, and I don't get tired no more, you know. And hopefully that's the way it goes in the fight while the adrenaline's pumping. I hope I don't get tired there as well. But, you know, as far as in the gym, I'm, you know, way different than I was before. Before, if I train 5 rounds, you know, I would be dead tired at the end of the 5 rounds. Now I can train 5 rounds and be ready for another 5, you know, right after the break's over.
Nice. That's great to hear. Glad to see you're 100% going into this one. And let's talk about the matchup. Ricardo Lamas, former title challenger. This is a huge fight. How do you feel like you match up against him?
Man, I honestly think that, you know, I've got all the skills to beat him. You know, I know I can stand with him. I've never really seen him hurt anybody too much on the feet. You know, once or twice he's hurt people, but, you know, most fights you see, even if it's a 3-round war, the other guy comes out, barely has any bumps and bruises on him. And, you know, it's going to take a hell of a guy to put me to sleep. So I think I'm good there. I don't think he can put me to sleep. Wrestling-wise, you know, I've worked my ass off on my wrestling, and it showed in my last fight. I out-wrestled Chas Skelly, and he's a Division I wrestler. Granted, now, I think that Ricardo Lamas is probably a better wrestler. Even though on paper he's a D3 wrestler, that really doesn't mean anything, especially in the MMA world. But, you know, I think that I'm twice as prepared now, wrestling-wise, as what I was for the Chas Skelly fight. So I think I'll be able to compete with him in the wrestling. And then if we hit the ground game's my world. He's good there. I know he's a black belt. But, you know, I don't give a damn what belt he is. I don't care how long he's had that black belt. That ground, you know, that's where I play at. That's where I have fun. You know, if he takes me down and we get to the ground, he's stepping into my world, and we're going to see if he can deal with it. So, you know, I think that, you know, if I don't get a finish, you know, submission-wise or a TKO or something like that, then I think it's going to be a hard-fought decision on both ends. And, you know, I plan on getting my hand raised.
I love it. You talked about your preparation there. One of the cool things about you is you don't train with a lot of, like, notable guys. You train with a lot of up-and-comers. Just talk about some of the people you've been training with that are helping you get ready for this fight.
Man, you know, the guys who are always here, we got, you know, James Sharp, Aaron Williams, Mike Sanford, he's my jiu-jitsu coach. James Sharp, you know, he coaches wrestling, stand-up, a little bit of everything. Aaron Williams, he's been around for years. He's like 40 years old, but he's one of them old cats that's tough as hell and just not going to give this sport up until he has to. We have Tyler Hill and Brandon Davis. They haven't been down very long, but, man, they're 2 up-and-coming guys who are going to be in the UFC very soon. Brandon Davis, he's actually fighting on the Contender Series.
That's right.
I think 2 or 3 nights after I fight. He fights on August the 2nd.
That's right.
So as soon as I get done fighting in Cali, we're going to drive over to Vegas and go watch him fight. So, you know, I believe that Brandon Davis, he's the one who's got my striking to where it is in the last year. He's made me so much better since he's been down here. And I believe that he's going to be one of the next big stars in the featherweight division. Tyler Hill, you know, he's just 1 or 2 fights away from getting that call. And he fights at 170. I think that he's going to be, you know, murder to the 170 division. He's going to kill most of those guys. And, you know, these are 2 guys that nobody's ever really heard of, but they're badass, you know. And I know this because, you know, I'm competing against some of the best guys in the world. And some of the best guys in the world, like, you know, say Chas Skelly, Alex Caceres, for instance, you know, those guys are tough as hell. But my training partners are tougher than they are, and they still haven't even got to where they want to be yet. And, you know, I'm just excited to see, you know, I've already started putting Mississippi on the map. Me and Chase Sherman.
Yeah.
But, you know, Mississippi is not known for really good fighters. But, you know, we keep on getting these guys in there. Then next thing you know, they're going to be like, damn, there's some studs in Mississippi. But, you know, I had a few guys come down from Pennsylvania. I had some real good wrestlers come down. A guy named Charlie Livingston, his older brother Caleb Livingston, and his younger brother Max Livingston. Caleb and Max, they came down for like a week. Charlie's been here pretty much the whole training camp. A guy named Brandon McCatherine, he is a badass jiu-jitsu guy. He came down, helped me work. A guy we call Barn Cat, his name's Brian Debs. He came down to help me work my jiu-jitsu. A guy named Sean Wells, a guy named Sean Applegate. And, man, the list just keeps going on and on and on. You know, I couldn't tell you everybody that's been down if I wanted to. But these are all names that you don't know. But these are all guys that, you know, are just elite, you know, that just haven't been heard of. And, you know, I don't mind people not knowing who my training partners are because they can't go study my training partners. They can't go study what they do, you know. And the way I look at it, you know, they can study, they can know everything. You know, it's like a chess game. You can know the next move I'm finna make, but you still got to stop it. You know, you can think you know everything about what I'm doing, but you still have to stop it. So, you know, I'm ready to go out here and put my skills to the test and see where we can go with it.
Excellent. Just got a couple more questions for you here. You do this really great show with Kobe. It was a friend of mine, Kobe's Corner. You do Kobe and the Kid, or whatever. It's Kobe's Corner with the Kid. How are you liking that? You know, is that something you see yourself doing in the future? Maybe going into the broadcasting route?
Man, I love it. You know, me and Kobe, we have a real good relationship. He's a real good guy. You know, he's backed me pretty much 100% since my UFC career started to take off. And he was one of the first ones to, you know, say, hey, Jason Knight's the real deal, and really get behind me, and I appreciate it so much. And, you know, every time we do our little podcast, you know, it helps get my name out there a little bit more. And, you know, I have fun with it. You know, I get to go on here, talk my little bit of shit, say what I want to say, and get out my ideas and my thoughts. And, you know, it's a fun thing to do. And, yeah, I could see myself, you know, maybe one day doing my own podcast, or if nothing else, you know, stay teamed up with Kobe. You know, I enjoy it. Every time we have our little podcast, man, it's always an interesting chat, you know.
Jason, this was a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. Everyone's got to check it out. It's UFC 214 coming up here on July 29th. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you got any thank yous, sponsors, shout-outs, anything like that, man, the floor is yours.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Everybody go follow me on Twitter. It's at JasonTheKid23. Instagram, at JTKTheKid. On my Facebook, you go to my fan page. It's Jason the Kid Knight. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and ask all your friends to do the same. I have nowhere near enough social media followers, and, you know, my social media is not as big as I need it to be to get these big endorsement deals and these big name sponsors. So if you can, help me out with that. And, you know, let's try to make something happen. All my friends, family, and fans, thank y'all so much. All my training partners, new and old training partners, thank y'all so much. And, you know, I had one sponsor for this fight, you know, help make me some shirts. Martial Arts Life, thank y'all so much for the shirts. Neo Life Physical Therapy, thank y'all so much for putting me back together after I break myself down. Gulf Coast Cryo, y'all have helped, you know, put me back together after I break myself down. I get in that cryotherapy machine, and it's awesome. Also, Massage Connections, thank y'all so much for, you know, taking the knots out of my back and the cricks out of my neck, man. It's awesome to have y'all on my side. Thank y'all so much. And thank you, James Lynch, for having me on the show.